All right, Sarah, thanks for stopping by today.
Thanks for having me.
I got my cocktail. You're my coach, and we got a bunch of questions for you. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I'm Sarah from New York City, currently in the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx, Bronx girl.
Okay.
Yeah, J-Lo kind of grew up in my backyard.
Nice.
And basically, I'm a image and life stylist, and I want to help women connect with their feminine power so that they can live a passionate life.
Okay, gotcha. What do you mean by feminine powers? I know there's a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, I think women forget what the essence of being a woman is. And our feminine energy is a very powerful source of inspiration, motivation, acceptance comes from our feminine power. And also all the other yummy stuff like admiration and like motherhood, right? And so a lot of women just focus on one or forget about it all. And it creates an opportunity for women to go into a path that's not necessarily where they're really in line with. So I help bring women back to a central place where they get more reconnected with their feminine energy, their feminine power, so that they can feel more empowered to create a life that matches more of their passions.
Right. So let me ask you this. What happens to a woman when they get aligned with their feminine power and all that stuff?
They turn into Beyonce.
Oh. What's her alter ego? Something.
Sasha Fierce.
Yeah.
Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, correct. That's the one. Yeah. You don't want to mess with her.
Right.
She puts it down. Okay. So why did you get into that?
Well, I found that I had went through my own personal struggles with self-acceptance, self-love, and I saw how it played out in my life. I made huge mistakes and got into all kinds of crazy situations because I didn't have that security with myself, and I didn't have that appreciation for being, first of all, a female, appreciation for being who I am, and even culturally, I had a lot of oppression on top of all of that. So I went through a journey where through my struggles, I realized, wow, if these pieces were in place, I would have avoided a lot of pain and suffering. So, my cause became directed towards that.
Okay, gotcha. That's kind of why I started doing this stuff too. It's like the pain that we've been through and the mistakes that we've made, like they empower not only us now, but we can, if we share and we help other people. We don't know who's watching right now that's going through a similar thing,
Right.
It is the internet world, and this literally could be seen in China in like 2 years from now. That might literally save someone's life. You never know.
No, absolutely.
So,
I feel that I got saved by, listening to different people speaking, and it really shifted my mind and made me realize like, oh, wow, like I was in a whole other place. And a lot of the encouragement that I found by listening to people helped me get out of that mindset.
All right, Sarah, let's go to that moment where you felt like, everyone has that moment where you kind of feel like you're at rock bottom.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of explain that moment to me in your life, like where you were, what you were doing, what you're going through, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I had moved to Florida. My father was ill. My father was everything for me. And he was diagnosed to only live 3 years. And so once that diagnosis came, I decided to relocate to Florida.
How old were you? Sorry to interrupt. How old were you at that time?
I was 36 when I moved.
Okay.
And first time leaving New York, very traumatic experience to leave New York.
Yeah.
I've never done a major move like that. I had just started a new relationship, and so I was potentially putting that on risk, right? And moving to Florida. And so anyway, long story short, my father was in the process of dying. It was a very long, drawn out, slow process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you stay hopeful regardless throughout. You always think that the person's going to recover and be fine. And even he believed that many times. But the doctors know what they're doing. And so it was rough to see my father transition. And I didn't realize how much I was internalizing that because we were being so positive about it. It was really affecting me. And so that coupled with the fact that I moved to a new place, and I don't know if anybody has ever experienced moving from a big city to a very small town, you have culture shock. And so I was going through that. I was probably the one of very few dark-skinned people in my town. Everywhere I went, I was like stared at,
Right.
and it was a very small, remote town in Central Florida. Not a lot of diversity. And so I felt that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And then my relationship was not going well. And then because of the economy turning at the time that I moved, Florida was really bad for employment. And I found myself working out of my career path. And I had a job that I absolutely hated. And I couldn't get out of it. I needed to be there. I needed to pay the bills. And so I felt so disconnected with my calling, my passions, my interests, anything that I have ever enjoyed. Like I was nowhere near in line with it at all. Mm-hmm. And I felt stripped. I felt like a zombie. I was kind of just going through life day to day, waking up, going to work, coming home, same mundane routine, having conflicts in my relationship, even having conflicts with my father. Throughout the process, because I also felt a lot of pressure from his wife and his family, and so I remember it was just things were just so rough. Financially, things were rough, and I think my car had got repossessed at the time, and that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And after that, like I just went on a steady downhill. I found myself like randomly crying. I would be on my way to work and just be in a hysterical mess, just because,
Right.
I couldn't sleep. I wasn't eating very well, very depressed. And I remember one day that I wanted to kill myself, and I was struggling with attempting to kill myself, and the conversation at that point was, you are such a failure, you can't even kill yourself. Like, look how much of a loser you are. Like, you can't even go through with killing yourself. Like, you cannot achieve anything, you are nothing. And it was such a harsh moment, because it's almost like your brain splits in half. And you hear that conversation going, and then it's like the other side of you is like, oh my God, you need to wake up. Like, you need to snap out of this. Like, you need to get control of yourself. Like, there's almost a side of you that goes into a panic because they see, like, your brain sees what is happening and you almost can't stop it. And I went into like a really big panic episode. It was really bad. I ended up going to the hospital. I was sedated for a couple of days. And that probably was like the scariest, lowest point. For me to feel that low, and think that way of myself was very scary. Because then there was like no value. Like I had gotten to -0 value for who I was.
Yeah.
And I just felt stripped. I felt like everything I loved and cared about was completely gone from my life. My relationship was going out the window. My father was almost dying. Like that was ending. I had no one around me that that would help me cope. I had no friends near where I was living. I couldn't identify with anybody in my town.
Right. Like all the hillbillies with the pitchforks.
Yeah, it was very that. And I just felt so stripped, and I had to really deal with myself. I really had to confront my demons, and I really had to sit there and look at it, no matter how painful it was. And even in this moment, I still remember how, like, I could still feel how painful that was to sit there and, like, look in the mirror and see all my demons, and really choose how to climb out of that. and choose to live and choose to change. Like, I remember specifically making that choice and saying, that's it. I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to have these horrible thoughts. I'm not going to feel this way anymore. I need to change this now.
Yeah.
And just climb my way out of that.
And it sounds like, I've been in a very similar situation multiple times. That's just kind of
right.
Things have a weird way of repeating themselves, right? Especially when I wasn't aware that the choice was mine, right? And that, like, I heard multiple times when you said you had to choose, you made a choice, right?
Yeah.
Literally, it is a choice, and what you're choosing in that moment is to take responsibility, right? To know that the only one that is going to pull you out of that situation is you, right? It doesn't matter what people say. Oh, you should be happy. Oh, it's just, sun's shining, like, because you don't hear that kind of stuff. It just goes right through you, right? Until you look in the mirror and you say, okay, I'm responsible for my happiness. Like, no pill's going to make me happy. No other person's going to make me happy. Like, it's literally my job to be happy and to pull myself out of this situation, Yeah. And when you made that choice, what was the first step to kind of get you out of that hole?
Meditation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remembered that was something that I was really big with my mom. And I decided there was like some online meditation seminar or something. And I was like, oh, this sounds cool. I was like reaching for anything positive at that point. And I used to just put it on at night and just go to sleep with it. And it was like 7 to 10 days of meditations. And I was doing them every night. And it was unreal how much that helped me. Like, I started to feel different, like internally, like it was amazing. And some of the visualizations that I had while I was meditating brought me lots of peace. And that's what started like my obsession with self-development and transformational work. And I was just like jumping in after that because I saw how profound. And also like spirituality, listening to Joel Osteen. Like, there wasn't a time that I wasn't listening to him and I wasn't like bawling my eyes out. I'm like, he's talking to me. Like, how does he know?
I'm a big fan of his jokes at the beginning.
No. And I swore like he was specifically talking to me so many times. And and that helped so much. I would listen to him every morning as I was getting dressed for work, driving to work. I would listen to him, and that it became such a need for me to hear his words in the morning that it just became a routine. And that really supported me.
Yeah,
to start to change.
Let me break those two things down for everyone that's watching. Okay, so a lot of people think, oh, I can't meditate. I don't know what meditation is, etc., right? Because especially like someone with ADD, they're like, there's no way I could do that. And it's not, so for everyone listening, meditation isn't shutting your brain off and just going in the zombie. What you're doing is you're separating yourself from your thoughts, right? And thoughts will pass by. There's not a lot of way to stop that, but you're more aware of it, and eventually you bring yourself back to whatever you're focused on, like your breath or the mantra or whatever the case is, and then you kind of detach from those thoughts. Like, there might be some kind of emotion floating through you, and you're like, oh, that's weird. Okay, back to my focus, and you kind of learn to go inside and be very aware of everything, but also not putting a ton of meaning on those things that you observe while you're in meditation. So it's just kind of like, it's like passing by, right? And you can observe it like a movie, like, oh, there goes anxiety. Well, it's kind of weird. Okay. Back to my focus, right?
Yeah. Well, also these were guided meditations, which were good for me because I have, also I'm like squirrel. Oh,
yeah, like, squirrel.
So it was helpful that it was talking me through it and telling me what to do, what to focus on. though, and I really enjoyed that because it took the work off of me,
Yeah.
and I could just kind of absorb it,
Right.
and not have to think about what I'm doing or what I should be doing or what I should be feeling or,
Right.
how am I doing in this meditation? Like, no, the guy is just telling me, I'm just listening and I'm just doing what he says, and so it was way easier.
Right.
Way easier.
So people that don't know, guided meditations where someone speaks, like, okay, start with let your breath go in and out. In and out. And then it'll be like, well, now feel your heart. Be grateful for your heart. Because without your heart, you won't be alive. Like stuff like that. And it's just like, it's a lot of times very monotone and just kind of like...
Yeah, it puts you in a trance.
Yeah, just peaceful. And then Joel Osteen in the morning. Let me tell you why that is, anything like that is transformational, right? Is because our mind kind of is a reflection of what we put into it, right?
Right.
So if we're starting our day with something good, we can't help it. Like, it would be very hard to like listen to Joel Osteen for 30 minutes, like consciously, and like actually listen to it, and then like an hour later just be pissed off,
right,
or scared or whatever, because it's putting so much good energy, good thought process, mindset into your mind before the day that you reflect out onto the world.
Yeah.
No,
and it would keep replaying in my head. Like there would be a coined term or something he would say that would just stick to me.
Yeah.
And it would just keep replaying in my head throughout the day.
Yeah. Like, it might be bad now, but it just takes one breath to change everything. Like, and then you're like, okay, oh, that's good. Have you ever, are you a reader?
I'm not big on reading. It's something that I've been doing more so recently. Is there someone in specific?
No, just in general.
Yeah, no, I like a lot of audiobooks. I think after the whole Joel Osteen, then I found Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
And Byron Katie. And that really started to I felt like I was throwing rocks at a glass and things were just crumbling and just coming down in chunks. Like all of those demons were starting to just crumble to pieces every time I listened. And it would be the same audio. Yeah. Every time I listened to it, it was like something else would just crumble.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because, I remember first being you go through a phase of shock, and then you go through maybe tears, and then you start to laugh. Right. And then the world starts to look different to you. You start to see things differently. You appreciate the sunshine and flowers and just hearing the birds, everything, your world literally starts to transform when you're going through that process.
Yeah, it's weird. And what's Wayne Dyer say? He says things are not going to change. Let's see. The things you see will change once you look at them differently, or something similar to that. I'm having a brain fart because I know it's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come back to me. But yeah, the things will change when you change, or something like that.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Do you think it's fluffy stuff, or do you think it's true?
No, it's definitely true. It's definitely true. I mean, but you have to get to a place, I feel, where you're just so sick of what you don't want that you're ready to be open to anything that's opposite of that feeling.
Right.
And when you're there, that's when change will happen. Because so many people, it's people make their resolutions at the beginning of the year to lose weight. And they're like, oh, I'm going to lose weight this year, and da-da-da-da. And they come in and join the gym and all that. And they're great for maybe 3 weeks, and then they fall off. And then, they're back to being unhappy with their weight or whatever.
Right.
You have to be so disgusted with yourself and so tired of whatever it is that you don't like about your weight and size for you to make the choice to change. And a lot of people don't allow themselves to get there, or they don't allow themselves to stay consistent for whatever reason. And then that was the big breakthrough for me, is going back to what I said originally, is that I started to realize there were key components that were missing within myself that I was looking for externally. So when everything externally was completely stripped from me, I had nothing to feed me positivity. I had nothing to tell me the things that I needed, or how I needed to be, or who I was. Like, nothing was coming towards me. And so then I felt like nothing, which is exactly what happened. When I started to realize that I needed to tell those things to myself, or those things are inside me, I don't need to go to the external, rely on external, I guess, influences to determine who I was. I needed to figure out who I was. That's when the whole thing flipped. And a lot of the stresses and anxieties and frustrations and obstacles started to melt away, because I was no longer putting myself in those kinds of situations, because it was for the wrong reasons. It was always for the wrong reasons. So that is the real gem, I feel, that people miss. You know, even when doing transformational work, like, okay, you can be looking at your demons and all of that, but if you don't realize that these are things that you need to internalize for yourself in order for you to have the life that you want and feel the way you want to feel in any capacity, whether it's, you know, at work, whether it's with your family, whether it's in relationship, like, you need to be really 100% good with you. Because if you're not, it's going to show up in everywhere. In every place in your life, you know, conflict will arise, because you're not fully engaging from a place of like wholeness. You're engaging from a place of lack, and that always creates resistance and conflict.
Yep, it creates bad relationships because your cup's half full, and you're depending on this other person to fill it up for you.
Right.
And then if that person leaves you, you know, then it's like, oh my God, like, I'm not worth anything. What it should be is like, your cup is full, right? Between you and whatever source you feel like is real. And this person is just going to come make your cup overflow, right? Like, more happiness, more love, right? Like,
absolutely,
it's going to magnify your happiness instead of like get you to the point where, you know what, once I have a good relationship, I'm going to be happy.
Right.
It's completely wrong. You got to go
or
be happy
once
now.
Once I get that job and make that money, I'm going to be happy. Yeah.
Which we can understand when you're so broke you can't pay attention, right? Like, if you're so broke and you can't pay attention, like, you can't pay attention to anything else. You can't pay any bills, right? So, like, your livelihood kind of feels at stake, right? But, you know, for me, I've been on the street, so it doesn't matter. Like, I'll be happy anywhere, you know, which is kind of scary for my wife. She's like, so if we were homeless right now, you'd be happy? I'm like, hell yeah, I'd be happy. Because not only that, I'll figure it out too. Like, like, I'll be happy and I'll figure it out. You don't have to worry about it, right? Been there before, not a problem. I'm like, if you've never experienced that before, you might be like...
That might make you really reconsider your happiness level at that point.
But so there is a hierarchy of needs. Like, you need to have food, shelter, and stuff before you can really, like, not 100%, but for like the average person that's just starting, if you don't have those two things, food and shelter, focus on those two things. Get those things squared away so you can start to become more of, you know, who you can be developed into. But you need to set goals, right? Like baby steps.
And that's how I felt too. I started to realize, okay, wait a minute. I need to take baby steps. I need to get back in touch with the things that make me feel good. And so, you know, that was a process, because I was so scared of opening those doors up for some reason. So painting, dancing, singing, or, you know, all of the things that I enjoy, I had to slowly start to get myself back into those things and allowing myself to feel good. And then it became a therapy for me, where I felt, if I ever felt, I have a name for like that dark energy. So I've named her Nelly.
Nelly.
And Nelly, Nelly, like the girl from Little House on the Prairie. I don't know if you've seen her, and she's got the
Negative
banana
Nelly.
curls. Negative Nelly. That's exactly who she is. And so I can almost feel her creeping up.
Yeah.
And anytime I would feel her creeping up on me, I would do something that I know would make me feel good. So I would like throw myself into a dance class.
Right.
Like even if I was dragging my feet, like, I don't want to do this, I would just push myself and go. Or I would start to paint, or I would like, whatever it is that I would like to do, I would just immediately like escape her. Sometimes I would also like meditate and have like a visualization of me like tying her up and throwing her in the closet, or like pushing her out a window.
Get out of here, bitch. You're done.
Or running her over with a car. Like I would just be like, you're not going to affect me. Like you're not going to take over my emotions.
Right.
You're not going to run my decisions right now. And that helped a lot. So for me to separate myself like that helped me control those dark emotions from like overcoming me and taking me back down that hole.
Yeah, and that's kind of Nelly she's a pattern. She's a habitual animal, right? So
she morphs.
Yeah. And anytime things might be going good, something inside, especially if you don't think you're worthy of it, something inside like is going to have Nelly just pop up and be like, you know what, don't you think you should like start talking to this other guy? You're too happy in this relationship right now. Like, don't you need some more attention? Aren't you kind of complacent? I mean, you might like this about him, but he has this, this, and this, when they're probably superficial bullshit that you're making up to find a way out of that happy relationship, Yeah. So people have to be careful, and they have to tie Nelly up and just throw her in the river.
Oh my God.
See ya.
I've done so much stuff to her. But the good thing is that she doesn't die.
Yeah.
She doesn't die because you need her. You need her for two reasons. For me, at least, anyway. One, to make sure that I have the opposite conversation. Like when she pops up, then I know, okay, I need to switch my conversation. If she doesn't pop up, I don't realize that I'm having a negative conversation.
Right.
So that works for me. And then the second thing is because when there is a situation where I need to be on alert, she's there to save me.
Right.
She's there to give me those creepy crawlies when I'm walking down a street that I maybe shouldn't be walking down.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I have something similar, but mine's like, man, I wish someone would mess with me right now. Just because, like, how I made it through a lot of my pain, which wasn't healthy, is I just fight everybody that I find.
Okay.
I just take it out on other guys.
You're a boxer.
Oh, not really, but I like to box. So, like, I have to avoid that, like, because sometimes if I'm in a bad mood, I'll accidentally look for some guys, like, is this guy gonna, yeah, I hope so,
That's interesting. There's a lot of men that actually cope with it that way.
Yeah. Like, and if you can separate yourself from the guy that just exploded on the cashier, you'd be like, okay, that guy's having a bad day. He's not actually mad at the cashier. Like, that's just how he deals with shit, unfortunately for the cashier.
Right. And unfortunately for him, too.
Yeah, and you'll end up in jail.
Yeah, right. But and then it almost becomes funny to me. Like now, I've gotten to a place where like if I'm getting frustrated or upset or uncomfortable about a situation, I immediately go to laughter.
Right.
Because I start to see how I'm behaving, and I think it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I'm in the moment of frustration, and I might genuinely be frustrated, but the laughter helps keep me kind of level, so that it doesn't go like anywhere too dramatic.
Yeah.
And I'm observing myself as I'm in the situation, and so I think it's funny even though I'm angry.
Yeah.
So now my friends are like, "Uh-oh, you're starting to laugh."
Oh no, the evil laugh.
They're like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "I'm really frustrated." They're like, "I know, but you're laughing," and I'm like, "Because that's how frustrated I am right now."
Yeah. Like there's something inside that you just start laughing. Like, damn, this bitch is crazy.
But I'm like, I need to laugh because if not, I will be really angry. So I rather laugh instead.
Yeah. Tony Robbins always says, he's like, someday you're gonna you're so worked up right now and you're so pissed off and nothing's working. He's like, someday this is gonna be so ridiculous that you're gonna look back and laugh.
Yeah.
And he says, why wait? Laugh now.
That's what
Laugh
I do.
now. Like you're acting like a baby. Like things aren't that bad. Just laugh at yourself. How dumb you're being. Like
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
yeah.
I've caught myself like in the middle of doing stuff, and then I'm like, oh my God, that was hilarious. I was really gonna just have a tantrum over the fact that this hair on my head won't go down.
Yeah. Yeah. Shave your damn head.
Yeah. So that definitely helps.
All right. So give me three concrete steps that someone can take where they're at the bottom right now, and they're just in that dark place. What's the first three things they should do?
I think number one is make the choice.
Responsibility.
Make the choice to change and commit to that.
Okay.
Number two is figure out the path to getting out of where you are. Like, what is it going to take for you to shift? What is it going to take for you to feel better? And actually do that religiously, you know? And then I think the third thing is be aware. Be aware, because those feelings don't just go away.
Right.
It takes consistent work, and you have to catch yourself. So you have to be very aware and not let yourself go back into the dark hole.
Right.
So awareness, staying alert and aware to your feelings and your emotions, I would think is the next most important thing as you're climbing out, I would say. Right, to a better life.
So when things start to get good, here's a metaphor for you, right? You're having a party, you know, everything's good, you're happy, you're like, yeah, this is awesome. You know, friends, family, just everything's going good. You're having a party to celebrate that, right? Who comes knocking on the door? Oh, hey, Nelly. Like, you want me to turn it down? No, I'm not going to turn my happiness down. Sorry. Slam the door in that bitch's face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, because she'll come, she'll be like, oh, hang on a minute. We're too happy, too quick.
Yeah.
We got to figure it
wrong.
out. You're used to being miserable. Are you sure you don't want to go back there? Like, because Nelly will come around and try to sabotage you.
Yes,
you know?
She will. And she's gangster about it too, you know? She'll get you in a chokehold.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're like, oh my God, wait. You know, if you're not aware, she will take over. And then before you know it, you're like becoming one of these crazy people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, I think that for me, the tears, I just got sick and tired of crying all the time.
Yeah.
Like, my friends are like, you're always crying. And I'm like, I know. I just got so tired of that. Like, I was just like, can I do anything else besides that? Like, I just don't want to cry. And, but that was Nelly. Like, she would just take over and take me down a hole.
Right.
You know, like, quickly, too.
Right.
And she was used to that. She was used to being in control and taking over.
Yeah.
You know, and that was sabotage and ruin all kinds of opportunities for me. Jobs, relationships, friendships, all kinds of stuff. So, those three things I think are key. Yeah,
one thing, here's how she shows up a lot of times. People won't know it, right? This is for me personally. I mean, it's shown up a lot of different ways in my life. But let's just say I set a goal. You know what? My boss is happy. Mike, you know what? Keep up the hard work. You know, you're this close to getting a promotion. I'm like, oh, sweet. 2 days later, dang, I feel unmotivated. Like, you know, maybe I don't want this job. Like, you know, like, and literally, like...
Or it's taking too long for that promotion.
Yeah.
Like, when is he going to give it to me?
Yeah. No, and that's the problem, right? It's not, like, actually, you enjoyed the job for the first, you know, however long. Like, all of a sudden, you're unmotivated, and, like, this whole time you wanted to get promoted. No, it's like somewhere inside, something doesn't believe that you should be promoted. Like, too good to be true, you know. So there's a lot of ways it shows up. So people just have to be aware that most likely if you, like, feel unmotivated, or all of a sudden you're, like, unhappy in a relationship that's you've been happy in, and there's no, like, the guy didn't go, like, cheat on you or, like, do anything crazy, like, it's most likely you're trying to find a way out.
Yeah.
Right? You're too happy. Things are too good.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that too is I get the backpedaling feeling. I start to feel like, oh, I gotta like get into a cave.
Right.
Like, oh, you gotta hide. You gotta hide. Like, go hide somewhere, Sarah.
Yeah.
Even people will come to me and say, oh, how you been? You know, I've seen so much going on in Facebook. Like, what's going on with you? And in that moment, I want to like I feel myself panicking and being like, oh my God, I want to run and hide.
Right.
Like, I need to hide. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean I've been doing all these things? Like, all of a sudden there's an expectation that I'm experiencing
Right.
where Nelly is like, oh, people think you're a liar now. Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
You've been making people think that you're this fabulous person on Facebook.
Right.
And now what are you going to say? Because you know you're not fabulous.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, oh my God, no. Like, I have to get her out the way
Yeah.
and then, you know, let myself have the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Like, oh,
Yeah.
hell no, Nelly, you're back? Like, I wasn't expecting that quick this time.
Yeah. No, and I've gotten really good at ignoring her. Like,
Yeah.
now she, like, you know, she's talking and I'm just like, you're not even there. I don't even care.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
just
like a little
run
kid.
your...
She's like
Yeah.
pulling on you.
Yeah, she
Right.
just running her mouth, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, la la la, you know,
Yeah.
skipping down the street, and
Yeah.
she's trying so hard, and I'm just like, whatever.
All right. I don't want to keep you all day. I had fun talking to you. But where can people find you if they want to chat with you?
Sure. I'm on Facebook. My Facebook is Nouveau Arts, Nuvo Arts.
Okay.
And also at nouveauarts.net is my website.
Okay.
And so people can definitely shoot me a little message there, or on Facebook is probably more effective, faster.
Right, yeah. Everybody's on Facebook, right? If they're in New York, maybe they'll just, you guys meet for coffee, huh?
Yeah, no, of course. And I do lots of events in New York. I have a program called Bold Bella. And so it's a program where women can come together in person. And it's a 8-week program where we meet live once a week. And we go through a program where we go through some of these topics to help women, like I said, get back in touch with their feminine power and align themselves with a life that is more passionate.
Right. Well, you know, I'm really grateful that I sat down with you today. Like, these conversations, they seem so natural, right? Like, but they serve a purpose because you're going out there and you're putting yourself out there to help other people. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that are grateful for that, and it gives you a purpose in life. So
Yes.
Keep it up.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for the opportunity. I love this. This is great.
Yeah. Not a problem. Maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
All right. Bye-bye.